Do you think that the formation of this label was inspired by your frustrations with a major? Was that, or was it something you'd maybe thought about before?
Uh, what's the right way to say this? You'd have to be a moron to be in the music business anytime in the last decade and not see the way things are headed.
Yeah,
I mean, no one knows what the answer is, but we all know that record sales and CD sales aren't going to keep the business afloat anymore. And we've known that for a long time. I think everybody's known that for a long time, and everybody's looking for the new model, and there's all this sort of like hype about what's going to happen in the future. But picture yourself being in a band on a major label in 2002 or 2004. I mean, you know that things are going to change in the next few years. You just don't know exactly how.
yeah,
So I think we've always been prepared to sort of jump ship and do things our own way. The
yeah,
question is just like when was the right time, and how to do it in such a way that it actually gave us more creative freedom instead of less.
yeah,
Because our relationship with the label was actually pretty good as far as those things go. We had
yeah,
lots of complaints, and I'm sure they had lots of complaints, but we didn't. A lot of people see a major label as like a button pusher. Like you walk in the front door, and they're like, "We're gonna make you a hit, kid."
yeah. It's not
And
always like that, huh?
no, it's nothing
No.
like that, and we knew that going into it, and the only we saw the label essentially as a bank. They can put up money early in your career when you can't afford to tour for 6 months
Yeah.
unless somebody else is paying your rent.
Hmm.
So we're lucky that they stuck with us as long as they did, and that we parted ways basically so amicably because.
Yeah.
We just aren't right for their model. We
Hmm.
don't. They have to come up with. They have to come up with solutions that work for every single band, and we don't. We just
Yeah.
have to come up with solutions that work for us, and we don't particularly care about succeeding in the particular ways that make sense
Yeah.
in labels. We just like making stuff, and so as long as we're able to, keep enough money coming in the doors that we get to keep making things, and we don't have to worry about paying our rent,
Uh-huh.
then we're happy.
And it works out. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
true.
we've been really really lucky. It's the ways in which we've succeeded have been so non-standard that
Hmm.
it sort of sets a nice precedent going forward because we don't have to like fit into everybody's model all the time.
I know that you're on tour right now and you've been doing solo dates, but you've also been playing some festivals along the way. I wanted
Yeah.
to know, is there a particular festival that stands out as one that's been your favourite? Like either watching bands or being part
I
of it?
think I think this year it was Sasquatch.
Yeah.
We played at Sasquatch, which is in it's up near Seattle. It's between Portland and Seattle, I guess. In a giant river gorge, and it's
Hmm.
just unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah.
And it reminded me actually of a European festival in the sense that like European festivals are usually these destination events where people go for the whole weekend and really enjoy
Yeah.
themselves. That's starting to happen a lot more in America, but for years, the only festivals you really had in the States were radio festivals or these traveling sort of money making schemes
Yeah.
like the Warped Tour, how Lollapalooza was back in the day,
Hmm.
and I think Americans have started to realize that like those experiences could be a lot better if you actually like you focus on one and make it a really good event,
Yeah.
and so I mean we had a great time playing Sasquatch. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. So is there any band particularly that stood out that you've managed to catch along the way?
Oh well, we played with Band of Horses recently, and they're fantastic. I really love that band, and everyone's been talking about Surfer Blood, and so I was excited to get to see them a
Nice.
couple days ago, and it was a lot of fun. There's a new Belgian singer who we played with at a Belgian festival
Hmm.
just a few days ago. Name I think it's Sela Sue or Sue Sela,
Yeah.
and she has just a spectacular voice. It's like she's got a real kind of like soulful thing and I know her record isn't out yet, and it's either going to be like totally shiny pop in a way that I'd probably get bored of, be like really earthy and awesome. So
Cool.
I'm excited to hear about that. Earlier this summer when we were playing American festivals, we got to see My Morning Jacket, and they're friends of ours. We did a bunch of political work with them a while back, and it was really, I mean, they're so spectacular live, and I so
Yeah.
rarely get to see my friends' bands live because we're always on tour at
Online.
the same
Yeah.
time. So that was really exciting, and yeah, I mean, it's been a summer of really great shows all around.
Cool. And I know that you're heading back to the US soon for a couple dates. What can people that haven't seen you live before expect from your live show?
Well, we're doing a big tour of the States in October, right after we get back
Yeah.
from tour in Brazil, actually.
Mm.
And it's, the live show. What's the best way to describe this? I think, like, I think the reason we make things in period is because you want to try to communicate with people in a way that's not purely logical. You want to like kick someone in the gut. You want to like actually feel
Make a
something. And
difference. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and like when it's mostly just from the addiction of being treated that way by other people's art.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you've heard the new CeeLo song, like the FU song.
Yeah.
Uh, it is so good, and like I
Serious,
can't stop
for
listening
sure.
to it, and
Yeah.
it reminds me of how powerful that feeling is when you're just like, I don't know what's so great about it, but everything about it is
Yeah.
great. Right. And I think we all know how that works in music, and we've definitely figured out some ways, I think, to get at some of those same feelings through videos and through artistic collaborations with people in other fields. And shows, of course, are like it's a very specific version of that type of communication, where what you want to do is basically get everybody on the same kind of emotional wavelength. And I think earlier in our career, we would just go for like as much energy as possible. Now it's the wavelength, and I think we've gotten better at it, and I think we've gotten more comfortable with our own the things that we like to do live, and so it's gotten a lot more sort of like a roller coaster, and it's got its ups and downs, and there's some parts that are really. I mean, we do a few things in our show that I don't think really ever happen in rock shows.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil any surprises, but we have a lot of fun with it, and it does sort of. I think it kind of connects in a certain way the playful and like sort of visual energy of the videos and of our online kind of life with the music, with the more like traditionally defined music itself.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of fun. I'm really